What's going on, Assassins? Yesterday I put out a video in regards to the map size, and I asked a bunch of questions. I wanted to know, was the map too big? Was there too much to do? Was it overwhelming to the point where you couldn't remember everything that you did in the game? Or was there something else going on? And a lot of you gave me your input, and most of it was great. Fantastic, even. And I want to share this all with you. I'm Darkshot of the YouTube Assassin. Let's get into this, and let's get into your thoughts. So, just a quick recap. The reason I even came up with this was because during the search for the Odin runes initially, a bunch of people were pointing out this character here, claiming that maybe he had some connection to Odin, he has Odin's robes, he looks a little bit like Odin, and they made so many connections. So, I looked into it, and I even forgot that this guy is part of a story arc where he builds a shield in order to send a Viking on his way to Valhalla, as you put the shield in the funeral pyre for said Viking. And that got me to the prompt, or the question: was the map too big? Is it too big? Was there too much to do? Was it overwhelming? And speaking of overwhelming, an overwhelming amount of you said no, the map is not too big. Bigger maps mean more to do, mean that there's a lot more content, there's a lot of stuff to get done and whatnot. And even if you rush through the game afterwards, you still have stuff to do. So overall, map size and the content there in the map was not the problem. What a lot of people had said, however, was that, number one, the story arcs were not memorable. They really weren't. They were boring. They were dull. The writing was terrible. The story really didn't grab you. And a lot of people really wanted great story arcs with side quests that back up those story arcs. So if you do a side quest, maybe it's related to what your main mission is in the story, which would make it a little more memorable, which gives it a little more meat, which justifies it a little more, and that kind of makes sense. If you do a side quest in a certain area, maybe it kind of reinforces what's going on in that area, and even if you complete the whole game and you go back and you redo those areas, the side quest still refreshes your memory and lets you know what was going on, what the intent and what the feelings were. Another bone of contention that people had were the raids. A lot of people felt that the raids were too short and too few, which is kind of true. There weren't a lot of raids that you could do, but basically the main reason for the raids was to improve your settlement. And some people still haven't gotten rank 6. They say that there weren't enough raids or anything like that. But if you're looking at this from a timepiece perspective, you really didn't do a lot of Viking things, you know? Of course, the Ubisoft Nut Riders and a bunch of people who are, I guess, faux Viking experts say that the game was perfect, that it was fantastic, that there was no flaws, which is what I expect from them. And they complain that everybody else's complaints are moot points. But that's not the case. A lot of actual Viking experts have said that the game really should have been more Viking focused, more warrior focused. What Viking is using knives, things like that. It should have been a bunch of, axes and shields and battle cries and plundering, pillaging. You can't show the other stuff because, it's a game and they really don't want to do stuff like that. You can't emphasize that. You'll have a whole bunch of SJWs and like feminists, third wave feminists coming after your game if that was the case. But it didn't have a lot of Viking stuff. It didn't have a lot of assassin stuff either. Didn't have a lot of Creed stuff. It just had a lot of random things going on. But again, The raids, they could have been longer. There could have been more. There could have been more reasons to do the raids. The river raids actually really brought nothing new. It was kind of filler content, and it really didn't bring a lot to the table. It just gave you extra raids to do, but really served no purpose other than making purchases of stuff that isn't even limited time. You know, like it doesn't change every week. You would raid, you would get all the stuff, and you're done. They swore that that was going to be a replayable kind of thing, and it was to a point. But even those raids fell victim to the rest of what was going on the main map, which is you go, you do something. There's 3 chapters. There's an introductory chapter, a middle chapter where you get something accomplished, and then a third chapter where you go to war, and that's where you get the pledge from that company or that group. The other problem that a lot of people had were all of the gear, the weapons, the shields, items like that that you found. In Assassin's Creed Origins, it really didn't make a difference what gear you had. In fact, the only real gear that you were able to carry were 2 different types of bows, 2 different types of weapons, a shield, and then like a tool. Those were the only things that you could change. You didn't really have armor differences. You could wear different armor, but that armor was just cosmetic. It would just give you a different look. In Odyssey, every piece of armor, you know, it helped you out. It did something. The engravings did something. And you could get epic gear, which was better than the legendary gear. You just needed the legendary gear basically for the purposes of obtaining extra encryptions and things like that. In this game, any item could go from fine to superior to flawless to mythical. There really is no need to get it except for cosmetic looks. Your gear really does not determine the outcome of anything, honestly. It just looks a certain way. But again, you know, that's just one of the things that people found bland. It was that, it was the story. The reason that people don't remember certain story arcs is that they were forgettable, that there was a lot of stuff to do. There were also complaints that the DLC was too short. The DLC, people were hoping that there was more to do, that there's a lot of wasted space on that map. Now, again, it's not all bad because a lot of people did say that with the map size being so huge, there was plenty to do. And a lot of people are hoping for a second playthrough with New Game Plus. That would make it a lot more fun. So, in reality, the map size and everything that you were able to do, the side quests and the content, were the real heroes of this. What the problem was the quantity versus quality. There really was no quality. There really wasn't any intriguing stories. A lot of people weren't grabbed by the side quests. Certain side quests people laughed at, such as the Walloper that I mentioned yesterday and the guy with the axe in his head. You know, those were kind of memorable, but for the most part, there really wasn't. You know, it had a repetitive formula. People would like to see a little more. Some people wanted to see multiplayer like Unity. You know, a lot of people were saying that the story was bland. It was poorly written. Some people even feel Odyssey was a lot larger. You know, some people wanted more gear. They wanted boss fights for gear, which is something that they didn't do in this game at all. You know, but overall, the map size was fantastic. There are a bunch of other things that are still going on. People are still having problems in regards to, you know, completing quests and everything like that. Some people have completely given up on that. And some people even stated that they had given up on Assassin's Creed entirely just because if this is the direction that they're going, the story was very bland and boring. And just not a lot to do. It really had nothing to do with Vikings. And, you know, the RPG elements just really took away from the stealth and everything that people were used to. Now, in its defense, I could see it going in the direction of an RPG. I could see that if you want your franchise, your IP, to remain relevant, you do have to make changes. You have to evolve. Maybe it's not evolving in the way that people want, but they're going to try new things. They're going to keep throwing things against the wall and seeing what sticks. I think that that's basically the future of Ubisoft. But for right now, I really do want them to really pay attention to what they're doing. Pay attention to the writing. The writing does need to be better. In the future, we really shouldn't have as many glitch errors as we have now. The game should be playable from day one. If anything, if there are glitches, it should be fixed within the first month. There shouldn't be anything game breaking 6, 7 months, 8 months after the game is released. By now, I said that Odyssey had already had New Game Plus. Maybe they're waiting until after the Paris DLC to give us New Game Plus. That would conclude Season 1. And, I mean, I could see that. And I don't have a problem with that. The thing is that maybe they should give us a couple of, like, fun things to do here and there in between without the need for inserting brand new armors sets, because that's not fun. Put that time and energy into giving us different things that we may like. Also, improve the writing, make everything a lot more memorable. Some people even said that they remember certain things that only the people that rush through the game, they complained that there was nothing to do. They complained that, it wasn't memorable and everything like that. And I can't agree with that. I absolutely cannot agree with that. Because when I play these games, I like to take my time. Other people tell me they already beat it. Even though, this is basically my job. This is what I do for a living. I have all the time in the world to play all day if I want. I'm just not retaining what's going on. And to me, that's a problem. Plus, I'm replaying it, but I have no real desire to replay it. I'm replaying it on a second file to do other things and whatnot, obviously to get more screen captures, so that I could do videos like this and whatnot. But I really have no true desire to replay it, to go through a second playthrough. Odyssey, I had no problem. I had 4 or 5 different playthroughs, and I thought Odyssey was, bad at the time. I thought that Odyssey really wasn't an Assassin's Creed game, and that game really should have been done better. But that game is a jewel compared to Valhalla. Again, just my opinion. All right? Origins, I played through that like forever. I'm playing through that again now. Years after the game came out. Again, to me, it's a fun game. It's memorable. Bayek as a character is fantastic. And the story was memorable. I remember everything. In this game, not so much. And then a lot of people did complain about the opals. That's self-explanatory. There's no lottery system. There's no way of gambling the opals for things that you may want. You just have to collect opals, perform ridiculous tasks to get so few opals, and then pray that every week they put something up that is part of the set that you want. If not, it's random and you just have to deal with it or pay real world money. But anyway, those were your thoughts. That's mostly what you guys came up with. Again, map size was not a problem for you guys. It was basically in the story. The story was forgettable. It was non-memorable. Maybe with a New Game Plus, it'll be a little bit better. But for now, that's basically what you guys thought. But let me know what else you think in the comments below. I do these kind of videos because I actually enjoy the conversation. I enjoy opening it up to you guys and seeing what you guys think and what you guys come up with. It's not really to kind of rag on the game or the developers or anything like that. It's more to kind of get an understanding, maybe get a grievance list going, and maybe get Ubisoft to pay attention and do better next time, or do better going forward with this game. They're talking about a Season 2. Let's make sure that Season 2 is even better than Season 1. And to all, you UB nut riders and stuff like that, I'm not sorry if you're triggered. I'm really not. And I know you guys are going to let me know in the comments below what triggered you, where on the video it hurt you, and things like that. And I'm here for it. Anyway, other than that, I really do hope that you guys did enjoy the video. Please like and subscribe. Make sure you ring that bell. That way you never miss any content whenever I put stuff like this out, or if there's anything big going on like a brand new glitch and whatnot that is beneficial to the players. All right? Until next time, I want you all to be good, stay safe, take care of each other, and you know we're going to end this on a yah yeet. I'll see you guys all in the next one.
Yah yeet!